I think Sylvia Plath's Victory of the Bell Jar, her famous work, is the most powerful artistic representation of ADHD till date. Also, disclaimer, I'm not a doctor, just a zoology major student, curious about brain stuff, mainly because she herself suffers from them a lot. Okay, coming back to the Sylvia. Which female do you remember as the icon of portraying her pain via her art? One example could be Frida Kahlo, right? She is like the great Frida Kahlo here, but not in context of physical pain. The Frida's art represented both physical and mental pain, but her famous works mostly depict her physical suffering due to the tragic accident she suffered. You're not forgetting her portraits, but people who know them, they also know that she painted them during her bed rest period due to her medical recovery. And her strong gaze in the paintings also captured attention of many analysts. One well-formed theory is despite being broken from inside, her gaze remained keen and constantly uplifted, showing her outlooks and strength, a lot to link connection with physical, mental, and emotional suffering. But there is another female I remember, well, in context of camouflaging her medical condition within her art. But when it comes to representing mental illness, I think Sylvia Plath also did it through her writing and metaphorical visualization. In her work, The Bell Jar, the only novel written by the authoress in 1963 by a pseudo pen name, Victoria Lucas. I'm reading the paragraph associated with her victory. I saw my life branching out before me like the green fig tree in this story. From the tip of every branch, like a fat purple fig, a wonderful future began to paint. One fig was a husband and a happy home and children, and another fig was a famous poet, and another fig was a brilliant professor, and another fig was E.G., or Iggy, how it is pronounced, the amazing editor, and another fig was Europe and Africa and South America, and another fig was Constantine and Socrates. She continues, and then I saw myself sitting in the crotch of this fig tree, starving to death, just because I couldn't make up my mind which of the figs I would choose. I wanted each and every one of them, but choosing one meant losing all the rest. As I sat there unable to decide, the figs began to wrinkle and go black, and one by one they plopped to the ground at my feet. In real life, Sylvia Plath also went through depression and bad mental health, as the psychiatrist described her after her death by suicide. The novel, The Bell Jar, is thought to be semi-autobiographical in nature, perceived as Sylvia's attempt to portray her mental illness, or more precisely her clinical depression in her writing. To anyone who have never experienced such emotional dilemma of paradox of choice, wait a minute, we will discuss this term. To that extent, where you are clueless about a person could go into depression while they have too many choices to choose from, well, let me tell you. It's not caused only depression and ADHD, but the number of patients suffering recorded due to undiagnosed ADHD is also pretty huge. Coming back to the term paradox of choice, yeah, that's what it is termed in psychology. Paradox of choice. After Barry Shearsworth used the term for the first time in his book Paradox of Choice by Less is More in the year 2004. I wasn't even taller enough back then, but now I'm explaining it to you, so huge achievement of my artistically chaotic life. In the year 2017, Vsauce, if I'm pronouncing the name right since it's Michael and his everything is different, had dedicated an entire episode on the concept with name, the freedom of choice. And his show Mind, where he did experiments on behavioral psychology, performing experiment, analyzing it with the help of experts, and forming conclusions about it. In conclusion, he found that people with usually more choices ended up feeling unfulfilled or guilty to some degree. What if they would have chosen to go with that option instead of this, even in choices as small as candies? While on the other hand, people with less choices given had better mental attitude towards their decision. Here's one of my pictorial representation that I included in the essay. I named her The Chaos of Creativity. It's also my inner monologue. On days I feel so stuck, not because I don't know what to do, but I know too much of what to do. And I have way more plans than one, so No multitasking or multitasking, just a depressed head full of overwhelming thoughts and eye strains. Hence, too many choices to choose from. An analysis of Sylvia Plath's victory.